Hello again and welcome back to my shop. Has this ever happened to you? You've got a beautiful blank. You're gluing a tube into that blank to make a pin out of it. And halfway through inserting the tube into the blank, the CA glue decides to grip and you can move the tube no farther. Well, if you've ever had this happen, today I'm going to show you what to do so that you don't lose that beautiful blank. When this scenario happens, don't worry that you've lost an amazing blank. There's a simple, easy fix. I always keep some spare tubes around my shop. They're very inexpensive. You can pick them up from any of your pin or pin part distributors. Another thing that I like to do is, and I got this from Penn State, they sell long tubes. And I buy a lot of these because I can cut them to any size I want. They come in handy for making styluses or custom pins, but they're also great for fixing pin blanks. I picked up this little tool at the big box store. It's a plumber's pipe cutter. And it works great for cutting these long tubes to whatever length you need. There's only one thing you've got to be aware of, and that is it will flute the end of your tube. I like to start by getting an idea of just how much tube I need. So I'll stick my tube into the pin blank, and I'll mark it. I always mark it a little long, and that's because I want to be able to sand the fluted area off to get it back to the standard dimension of a normal tube. Using my pipe cutter, I simply lay my tube in there, line up the mark, tighten the cutter a tiny bit, spin the tube, tighten it a little more, and just continue until I'm able to cut all the way through the brass tube. All right, and now I've got my tiny piece of tube. Notice this end is fluted as compared to this end, so I want to stick the non-fluted end into the blank. So let's grab our CA glue. Let me get rid of some of this stuff so I don't spill glue all over it. We're going to grab our CA. We're going to apply some to the new brass tube. I like to apply it liberally. We're going to insert that into the blank and let it dry. The CA glue has dried. Now what I want to do is take this over to my disc sander, and I'm going to sand these tubes down roughly even with the blank. I don't have to get perfect because my barrel trimmer will clean up the rest, but I want to take as much of that brass off as possible. Before I head over to the sander, I'm going to go ahead at the bandsaw and just sort of knock these tubes down a little bit. By trimming the tubes on the bandsaw first, I won't have as much to knock down on the disc sander, so it won't be as hard on my paper either. So now I'm going to run over the disc sander and just take these down level with the blank. And now the tubes are level with the blank. We're going to head over to the drill press and we're going to use our barrel trimmer to make sure we have a nice flat even surface here. And you'll notice the tubes no longer have any fluting. They are exactly the size they should be. I have the blank in the pin vise on my drill press, and I got my barrel trimmer chucked up. I'm going to go ahead and trim this barrel, and I'm not going to get aggressive. I just want to trim enough away to have a nice flat surface. So we're just going to lightly clean this up so that it's ready for the mandrel. All right, I've got a nice smooth surface. We're going to flip it over and get the other side. Make sure everything moves freely. And All right, that's all we needed. At this point, our blank is trimmed on both sides and it's ready to go to the lathe. I have the blank chucked up on my lathe. I can now turn it and assemble the pin just like I would any other pin, and you'll never know that this front blank, I marked it fixed, but once I turn it, you'll never know this front blank was two pieces of tube pieced together. I'd like to thank you for joining me in the shop today. I hope this little tip of how to repair a tube in a blank is something that you find useful. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I answer all questions. I reply to all comments. If you're not a subscriber, I invite you to click the subscribe button down below, and anytime I do a video, you'll be notified because it'll show up in your feed. Recently, I started a Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, feel free to go out to RJBWoodTurner and give me a like, and then you'll be able to kind of follow along with what I'm working on in the shop. Guys, I want to tell you, you're always welcome in my shop. Have a great evening.